Hello children, today I am here with you once again to do with you one of the most popular poems of Stephen Spender, an elementary school classroom in a slum, from your textbook Flamingo. Stephen Spender was an English poet and an essayist who was born in 1919 and died in 1995. He was one of the most representative poets of the 1930s. He, along with his contemporary poets W. H. Auden, Cecil Day Lewis, Ted Hughes, Louis MacNeve, were all very actively involved in the Spanish Revolution. They championed the cause of the revolution. They were very empathetic with the sufferings of the economically poor group of the society. Spender left University College, Oxford, without taking a degree and went to Berlin in 1930. He took keen interest in politics and declared himself to be a socialist and pacifist. His books include poems of dedication, The Edge of Being, The Creative Element, The Struggle of the Modern, and an autobiography, World Within World. In this poem, An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum, he has concentrated on themes of social injustice and class inequalities. This poem is one of the best and most remarkable example of the economically poor group of the society who lived in the slum areas and who were deprived of all the facilities of the haves in the world. Let us have a short introduction of the poem. An elementary school classroom in a slum, which is written by Stephen Spender and published in 1964, resonates the poet's political views and displays the conditions and difficulties faced by children living in the slums. This poem highlights the social injustice which prevailed in the society all over the world during the period of Spender. In this poem, the poet uses a number of figures of speech like metaphors, similes, imagery, pun, symbols, and repetition. Through this poem, he expresses his ideological positions on governments, economics, and education. The students in this classroom are underprivileged and underfed. He says that it is a mere wish fulfillment to think that an empty stomach can be taught. The capitalist government is supposed to supply equal opportunity for education, but the classroom in the slum offers little hope for change or progress. The poet's tone changes from thoughtfulness to anger and aggressive and frustrated to an appeal. Let us also see the theme of the poem. The central theme of the poem deals with the paradox of teaching elementary school children in a slum. The poet very strongly believes that you cannot hope to provide education to children who are very poor and hungry. The children in a slum school are bound by their poverty, hunger, hopelessness, and are cut off from the rest of the world. This situation is created because of the policymakers and the irresponsible government and its officials. Now let us understand the poem line by line and stanza wise. Far, far from the gusty waves, these children's faces, like rootless weeds, the hair torn round their pallor, the tall girl with her weighed down head, the paper-seeming boy with rat's eyes, the stunted, unlucky heir of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease, his lesson from his desk. At back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young, his eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game in the tree room other than this. In this stanza, the poet has very well tried to explain the normal condition of normal children and the children of this classroom who have very dull and pale faces. Far, far from gusty waves. The poet has repeated the word far, far twice just to show that how far are the children from the world of the haves. Gusty waves is an aspect of lively and energy, which can be seen in every children's face. But here, the children who are the students of this slum school classroom, their faces are far, far away from this energetic aspect. Their faces are dull. So the poet says, far, far from gusty waves, these children's faces, like rootless weeds. Here, the hair of the children are compared to the rootless weeds. Rootless weeds are those weeds that are pulled out from the ground because they are unwanted. In the same way, the appearance of the children are, it seems, to be unwanted like the rootless weeds. The hair are scattered on their pallor. Pallor here means their pale face. The tall girl with her weighed down head. In one corner of the classroom, a girl is sitting whose head is weighed down because she is ill and exhausted with poverty and deprivation. The paper-seeming boy, another boy in the class, is seemed to be like a paper. That means he is as thin as a paper with rat's eyes. Here, rat's eyes is a symbol of greed and hunger. The paper-seeming boy with rat's eyes, the stunted, unlucky heir. This boy's body is stunted. That means it has stopped growing. And he is an unlucky heir of twisted bones. He is the successor of his father. He is the successor of his parents. But here he is said to be unlucky because the children, they inherit their parents' riches and jewels as a legacy. But here, this child, he has inherited the twisted bones and the gnarled disease of his father as his legacy. So he is said to be unlucky. This boy also sits in the class learning his lessons from his desk. At the back of the dim class, here the class is said to be dim because it lacks enough light. So, at back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young, one boy who is unnoticed, he is sweet and young. He is said to be sweet and young because he is different from the other students of this gloomy class. This young and sweet boy, he's sitting at the back of the class and his eyes live in a dream. His eyes are full of dreams of squirrel's game. Squirrel is an animal that runs up and down the tree playing very energetically in tree room. In the same way, the boy who's sitting at the back of the class, who is unnoticed by anyone, he has his eyes full of dreams. He wants to be free, he wants to be carefree, and in this freedom, he wants to enjoy and play like the squirrel. He wants to play and enjoy life freely, like the squirrel in the tree room. Other than this means other than the class. He is in a gloomy class, a class that has dilapidated and pale walls, and the children in this class also look pale and gloomy and sick. In this class, there is a sweet and young boy whose eyes are full of dreams, and he is very different from the other students of the class. He is in the class, but his thoughts are in his dreamland, and so it is said of squirrel's game in tree room other than this. On sour cream walls, donations. Shakespeare's head, cloudless at dawn, civilized dome riding all cities. Belled, flowery, Tyrolese valley, open-handed map, awarding the world its world. And yet, for these children, these windows, not this map, their world were all their futures painted with a fog, a narrow street sealed in with a lead sky, far, far from rivers, capes, and stars of words. A very beautiful stanza in which Spender expresses his thoughts and views of how pathetic the condition of these slum children are. In a pathetic condition, in a very dull and pale room, they sit to study, and how does this affect their future? On sour cream walls. It is not the cream color that is used in our houses. It is the cream color because the walls have been painted long, long ago and the color of the wall has been faded and it looks sour. Some people, some haves, must have donated some money to paint these walls, and for a long time it has not been painted yet. Shakespeare's head, the portrait, the picture of Shakespeare is hanging on one of the walls of the classroom. Shakespeare is one of the greatest dramatist and playwright and poet in English literature. And in his plays like Macbeth, Othello, Merchant of Venice, Julius Caesar, Hamlet, King Lear, all the characters that are presented and projected in these plays of Shakespeare, they belong from the elite strata of the society. Shakespeare, in his plays and writings, talks about the blue, clear, cloudless skies, the beautiful civilized domes, about Julius Caesar, Romeo and Juliet. He talks about their finest sentiments of love and friendship, which is totally unaware to these children. Cloudless at dawn, civilized dome riding all cities, belled flowery Tyrolese valley. Tyrolese Valley is one of the most beautiful valley in Austria, which is filled with natural beauty, totally engrossed with beautiful flowers. The picture of Tyrolese Valley also hangs on the wall of this dull classroom. Open-handed map awarding the world its world. An open-handed map which shows all the beautiful places all over the world. is hung on the wall, and this map has a beautiful world which it is awarding to the world of the slum children who are sitting in the dull room. The world of the children who are in the classroom is quite different and opposite to the world of the map that is hung on the wall. And yet, for these children, these windows, not this map, their world. The children who are sitting in the classroom, their world is the world which they can see out from the window of the classroom. When they look out of the window of their classroom, they can see very long stretched slum areas with very narrow streets. They coexist with animals and live in a very unhygienic place where there is no natural beauty. The sky is overclouded with pollution and everything is vague in the environment where they live. So it is quite different and just opposite to the map that hangs on the wall. These windows, not this map their world, were all their futures painted with a fog. Here fog represents the vagueness, where the children who do not have any future because they live in such a place, in such a slum area, which is cut off from the world of the haves and the elite people. A narrow street sealed in with a lead sky. The streets that are there in the slum areas, they are sealed in with lead sky. That means even the narrow streets of the slum area are polluted, and due to pollution, the sky seems to be unclear and vague, far, far from rivers, capes, and stars of birds. So, the rivers and capes and stars, these beautiful things that are there in the picture of the Tyrolese Valley, which is hung on the wall, this is far, far beyond from the reach of the children. It is beyond from their imagination, and the beautiful stars that shine on the sky is also not witnessed by these children because the place where they live is full of dirt and filth and garbage, and even the sky is vague and unclear due to pollution. Surely, Shakespeare is wicked, the map a bad example, with ships and sun and love tempting them to steal. For lives that slyly turn in their cramped holes from fog to endless night. On their slag heap, these children wear skins peeped through by bones and spectacles of steel with mended glass like bottle bits on stones. All of their time and space are foggy slum, so blot their maps with slums as big as doom. In this stanza, Spender says that Shakespeare is wicked and the map a bad example. The reason for this is Shakespeare, in his plays and writings, displays and projects a very lavish and comfortable life of elite people. He expresses the beauties and bounties of nature, the clear blue sky, the beautiful civilized domes, all these things which are expressed in his writings by Shakespeare has nothing to do with the life of the children who live in the slum areas. The map, a bad example. The map is a bad example because the map shows the beautiful world which is different to the world in which these slum children live, with ships and sun and love tempting them to steal. When Shakespeare's writings are exposed, the finest sentiments of love and friendship are told or written in his plays and which is exposed to the children, they get tempted. When they come to know about the beauties and bounties of nature, they are tempted to steal. For lives that slyly turn in their cramped holes, because their houses are like cramped holes. It is like the burial place which lacks space, which is very gloomy and unhygienic. And it seems that death is hovering around the places where they live. At such conditions, when Shakespeare is exposed to them, they are tempted and they are tempted to steal. From fog to endless night. This line suggests from the time of their birth to the time of their death, these children or these slum people, they have to lead the same kind of life in the filth and dirt of the slum area. On their slag heap, these children wear skins peeped through by bones and spectacles of steel with mended glass like bottle bits on stones. These children can be found sitting on the slag heap, the garbage which can be found here and there in the slum area. They coexist with animals moving here and there in a very unhygienic condition. These children, they look very skinny, they look very dull, and they look very weak and sick due to lack of food. Wear skins peeped through by bones and spectacles of steel with mended glass, the things that they pick from the garbage and use, like the spectacles. It is made of steel, and the glass of the spectacles are broken, and it looks like the bottle bits that are scattered on stones. So these things, these dilapidated things and broken things picked from the garbage are used by these children. All of their time and space are foggy slum. All the time they have to spend their life and time in this slum area, which is far, far away from the place of the haves. So blot their maps with slums as big as Doom. In the last lines of the stanza, we find Stephen Spender becoming angry and aggressive when he thinks of the pathetic and poor and poverty ridden condition of the children living here. He says that the beautiful map which is hung on the walls of the classroom, which displays only the beautiful places all over the world, the map that is hung on the wall should be blotted with spots as big as Doom so that the other people can also see this pathetic condition of the slum people, and the slum people or children who find themselves alienated from the rest of the world, they also should feel that they are a part of the map of this world. Unless governor, inspector, visitor, this map becomes their window, and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs break open till they break the town and show the children to green fields and make their world run azure on gold sands and let their tongues run naked into books the white and green leaves open, history theirs whose language is the sun. Beautiful lines written by Stephen Spender. When he sees the pathetic condition of the slum children, when he witnesses the unhygienic conditions in which they live, when he finds that how death hovers around them all the time in that gloomy atmosphere, Spender feels very sad and he makes an appeal to the governor, to the visitor, to the inspector who come there, who can change the pathetic condition of these people. This map becomes their window, and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs. Catacombs means very small places. It's like just the burial places or like the graveyards where these children live. They don't have even enough space to move around their houses, and so their life is very sorrowful. It lacks dreams, it lacks all the facilities and the necessities which are enjoyed by the haves of the society. So this map becomes their window, and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs break or break. So he makes an appeal to the governors, to the inspectors, to the visitors, to the haves, to the elite society that they can break these catacombs open till they break the town and show the children to green fields. They can improve the condition of these children, these people, by bringing them to a world where the children can enjoy the beauties of nature. They can come to the green fields and make their world run azure on gold sands and let their tongues run naked into books the white. Here, the books the white, into books the white, here are the books that we read. And green leaves open, green leaves refers to nature because nature is the first teacher of every child. So he says that these visitors or governors and inspector, the government officials, can break the catacombs of these children, and they can be exposed to the green fields, to the beautiful world of the haves, where they can enjoy the beauties and all the comforts of this lavish world. They can run on the azure, on gold sands, and let their tongues run naked into books. They can also have the education which can make them more educated, and they can lead a beautiful and wonderful life, and they can also be exposed to nature. History theirs, whose language is the sun. It is a very beautiful line written by Spender. In this last line of the poem, Spender says that people who are well educated, who are well read, and who lead a comfortable and joyful life, enjoying all the comforts and lavishness of life, they can recreate their destiny. So he makes an appeal to the haves of the society that they also can give these children a chance to recreate their own destiny by leading a wonderful, comfortable life, by breaking the catacomb in which they are living, the place, the unhygienic environment, the place where death is always hovering around them, the gloomy and foggy place where they are living for a long, long time, where they do not have a future of their own, they don't have any dreams, they don't have time to look at their own comforts and selves from such a horrible place. These children, these people also should get a chance to come into the world of the haves and the elites and make their own destiny a beautiful one.